So the three states, Avasthatrayam Kim, Jagrat Swapna Sushuptyavasthaha. What are the three states? They are the waking, dream, and deep sleep states. The range of human experiences is wide and varied. I experience the physical world as sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. The emotional world as desire, anger, love, compassion, etc. And the intellectual world as ideas, ideals, concepts, imagination, and so on. I also experience the absence of all of them. This experience of all of them is in our deep sleep state, isn't it? When we there is no mind, there is no intellect. These experiences are divided into the three states of consciousness, which we all go through in each day of our lives. They are the waking, dream, and deep sleep states. The waking state, Jagradavastha ka श्रोत्रादि ज्ञानेन्द्रियैः शब्दादि विषयैश्च ज्ञायते इति या सा जागृदवस्था स्थूल शरीराभिमानी आत्मा विश्वा इति उच्यते. So what is the waking state? The state of experience in which the sense objects like sound are perceived through the sense organs like the ears is the waking state. The self identifying with the gross body is then called Vishwa. Waking is that state of experience where my entire personality is awake and fully functioning. I identify with all the three bodies and experience the world through them. The waker is therefore called Vishwa, complete or all inclusive. I am identified with the gross body only in the waking state and not in the dream and deep sleep states. And therefore, it is mentioned that in the waking state, I identify with the gross body. It is not possible to function through the gross body without identifying with the subtle and the causal bodies. I cannot read or hold this book without my mind backing my eyes and hands. Since the counter of experience of the gross body is open, all transactions happen through it. The objects in the waking world are experienced through the sense organs as being outside the body. The book you hold does not seem to be within you, but outside you. I act with the notion of doership, kartritvam, and thereby also enjoy the results, bhoktritvam. The waking world seems to be solid and real. Objects and events seem to have a cause and effect relationship. They have their uses and function according to some laws. I wake up each day to the same familiar world. I therefore give the waking state a greater reality and importance. I form attachments to objects and beings and enjoy or suffer them. However, I dismiss my dreams as unreal because I see them as a figment of my imagination. This is so profound, isn't it? Very nice. Then the dream state. Swapnavastha keti chet jagradavasthayam yad drishtam yat shritam tad janita vasanaya nidra samaye yah prapanchaha pratiyate sa swapnavastha. Sukshma Sharirabhimani Atma Taijasa iti uchyate. So, for the question, what is the dream state? The explanation is the world that is projected while in sleep from the impressions born of what was seen and heard in the waking state is called the dream state. The self identified with the subtle body is called Taijasa. Seeing is believing almost in the waking is therefore, the eyes and the ears are the main forces of waking excess. Excess due to them, the other senses, the mind and the intellect in the waking state form impressions on the mind. The more repetitive the experience, the deeper are the impressions formed. The mind creates, sustains, and ends the dream world. Not only the world, but also the enjoyer of this world, the dreamer, is created by the mind. The dreamer can have an entirely different identity from the waker. The intellect has no role to play in the dream state. Also, there is no notion of doership, and hence no merit or demerit is created in the dream. One is not punished for the crime done in a dream. There is only the notion of enjoyership, bhoktritva. But again, there is no choice about whether to enjoy or to suffer. Dreams are the unfulfilled wishes of the waker or the garbled impressions of the waking state that do not require gross manifestation. One may dream of winning a lottery ticket or of a horse flying. The dream may seem strange or the sights illogical or ridiculous to the waker, but the dreamer does not feel so. The self does not identify with the gross body then, but only with the subtle and causal bodies. The individual is then called Taijasa, as the dream world is thought created. Tejomaya antakarana vritti rupatvat Taijasa. So the dream may seem unreal to the waker, but it seems very real to the dreamer. It's a beautiful distinction created between the waking and the dream state, no? So in the waking state, you identify with all the three bodies. Unless all three are functioning, you're not able to function as a waker, in the waking state. You're identified with the gross body, subtle as well as the causal body. Whereas in the dream state, you're identified only with the subtle and the causal bodies. And there is no kartritvam. So there is no merit or demerit. So there's no papa, punya, karma that you accrue in the dream state. So if at all we were to live, it's just a thought, if at all we were to live in this world, like as if we are dreaming, as in there is no kartritvam at all, then you are like you're free from karma, from the bondage of karma, right? And that is what Gurudev says, live in this world like as if you are living in a dream. I mean, consider the whole world as a dream. That is what everybody's been saying. Anybody wants to share anything on this? I just wanted to go back to that aspect where impressions get stronger, right? See, the more intense this one, the more intense or more repetitive the experience, the deeper are the impressions formed. It just occurred to me when my son is around, he's into cricket. He's very passionate about cricket. So the TV always has nothing but cricket. It could be IPL, it could be a test match, whatever. And as long as he's at home, it is like cricket is going on. So the eyes and ears are tuned towards the cricket. So the moment you wake up, you're thinking of, oh, what happened to the IPL? What happened to this match? And these are the teams playing today. But when he's not there, like when right now he's away, that the both me and my husband do not even think about cricket. So I think the more intense, more repetitive the experience, the deeper are the impressions formed. This is just an example. We may have several of these examples going on in our own lives. So here we have to be a little aware, no, regarding what goes in through the eyes, what we hear, what we see. So just a thought I wanted to share. Anybody wants to add or share anything regarding the Jagrada Avastha and the Swapna Avastha?
I wanted to say
Yeah.
that the same thing, like what was talked about, the rope being mistaken to be the snake,
Mm.
and then from there talking about our unfulfilled desires and all that. I was just thinking that all these questions also coming up in our mind now is because of these morning sessions, and there is so much like throughout the day, whenever we are free, like the churning that is going on in the mind is about what Nana said earlier in the morning. And then
Yeah.
these questions come up, whether relevant or not, we don't know. And then because of that, we just simply tend to ask that. But it's so wonderful that we are on the right path and the mind is churning on this rather than something insignificant or unnecessary.
Correct, isn't it? Which is true. See, the again we can apply the same sentence. This more intense, the more repetitive the experience. So we are, um, thanks to our sessions, like we are thinking of the Bhagavad Gita, and now we'd all, I think, go back to read the Swami Dayananda's, his PDF. So the more you're on that, you're only thinking of it. And this again brings us back to the mumukshutvam, wherein it's a beautiful shloka that has come from the Upanishads that Nana was sharing yesterday. I just wanted to share that. Wait. Yeah. Uttamam tattva chintanam, madhyamam shastra chintanam, adhamam mantra chintanam, tirtha bhranti adhamadhamam. So if we are able to upgrade ourselves in the ladder of the seekers, from just mundane to something higher, tattva chintana, think about the self, I think we would have done our our little bit in keeping us on this path. No, that is nice. Right. Anybody wants to share? Should we go ahead to the deep sleep?
I am Dr. Savita. I just wanted to ask one thing. Like from my childhood, like I used to have dreams, like regarding I was in school, so I could see my marks in my dream, and the next day I would find my paper, and the same marks were there. Even in college, also it happened. Then in further life, I could see the death of a person, but I could not figure out the face, but I could see that the death is happening in that house. Like it's month ago or maybe 20 days before. So I I really fear my dreams, and it's not frequent. It's like it's in a lot of gap of time. So uh, the dreams, like I'm not able to figure out literally what dreams are, and I always have the vague impressions, like and I have lot of dreams also. So I just fear my dreams sometimes. uh, will it come true, or will it be just a uh, passing by thing, like
Mm.
experience I had? And it was like maybe when the mind is more, it's more of in a you are more worried about something, maybe that is there, or I don't know, but things have happened like this in my life, so I was not able to figure out uh, why is it happening, or what is it exactly.
Yeah, actually, there are 5 types of dreams. No, um, one is about your past experiences. They show up in your dreams. Another is
Yeah,
about future happenings. You might get
yeah,
them as premonitions, like what happened to you. Your marks the next day or your questions the next day in the exam. So that is also possible.
okay,
And most often it's a mixture of the three. It's a mixture of our past experiences, our future predictions, and And some unfulfilled desires also can come up in in our dreams. So I think it is wisdom lies, like what Shri has said, to go beyond, go beyond
Yeah.
analyzing the dreams. Dreams are dreams. They come and they go.
Yeah.
They have no existence. They're only thoughts. They're only manifestations of thoughts. Sometimes even our deep inner fears can come up as dreams. So step aside and see that with wisdom, that this is all but a dream. And even that thing about some people dying, it is but inevitable, right? Everybody who's born has a death. It might so happen that you are getting those things. Maybe the premonition that you get is strong. So I don't know whether you should be fearful of that. So maybe with this understanding, that fear you can take care of.
Yeah.
Step aside and look at your dream from a witness standpoint. Maybe that would help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So the deep sleep state. Ata sushuptyavastha ka aham kimapi na janami sukhena maya nidra anubhuyata iti sushuptyavastha. Karana sharirabhimani atma prajna iti uchyate. Then what is the deep sleep state? That state about which one says later, I did not know anything. I enjoyed good sleep, is the deep sleep state. The self identified with the causal body is called prajna. When one gives up identification with the gross and subtle bodies and identifies only with the causal body, one is said to be in the deep sleep state. In that state, one experiences the absence of all objects, emotions, and thoughts. When one awakes from it, one says, I did not know anything, but the experience of happiness, I slept well. This memory of having slept well or otherwise proves the presence of I, the experiencer, even in the absence of the world. Hence, the joy experienced is of one's own true nature. Due to ignorance, we do not know this, and so we awake, as ignorant as ever, looking for joy in the world of objects yet again. In the waking state, I identify with the gross body and become the doer and enjoyer. In the dream, I identify with the subtle body and become the enjoyer of the dream world. In the deep sleep state, there is neither the doer of actions nor the enjoyer of the world. In the absence of thoughts, there is no concept of time, space, or duality. Hence, I cannot say how long I slept or where I was in sleep. In the waking and dream states, I know I exist, but I do not know my true nature. I take myself to be the gross and subtle bodies, and the waking and the dream worlds to be real. In the deep sleep state, I am ignorant of my true nature and also of the world. Except for the awareness that I exist, there is total ignorance, and therefore the individual is called prajna. Prayena ajnaha, one who is more or less ignorant. The waking and dream states of each of us differs, but the deep sleep state is the same for all. The king, the beggar, the ignorant one, and the wise man all experience bliss in the deep sleep state. There are no degrees in this bliss. It is homogeneous, partless, and complete. Therefore, one does not want to come out of it. One is refreshed and rejuvenated by this state. If we are sleepless for a day, we become distraught. We willingly give up the whole world to go to sleep. Some even take sleeping tablets to induce this state. We go to this state either from the waking or dream state, being overpowered by inertia. The unmanifest impressions or vasanas of the waking world manifest to push us out of this state, either into the dream or waking worlds. There are also some in-between states that we experience. The sleepwalker is both awake and asleep. One is half asleep. One in half sleep is neither awake nor asleep. The daydreamer is both aware and dreaming. The three states come and go. Each negates the experience and reality of the other two. I am the witness of these states. I stand unnegated by them. I may act like a beggar in a play, but I do not become a beggar. Similarly, I am not the, what is that? Yeah, I can't make that out. I am not the take up of the dreamer, waker, and deep sleep. Let me just read it from this book. I am not the roles I take up of the waker, dreamer, or deep sleeper. Yeah. So does anybody want to share anything? Or
Oh, we are not able to hear at all.
Oh,
The
you didn't
volume,
hear?
sorry.
Oh, you didn't hear anything? From what did you not hear?
Now in the last 2-3 minutes, but generally volume level is very low.
You know, I think
Maybe
it's
you,
because
I suggest that you can have a mic.
no,
Probably
I
if
the problem is not my volume. My volume is 100%. I think my problem is my internet. My internet connection is a bit shaky, I guess. So maybe in that case, if anybody else, wants to read, can please go ahead. Otherwise, if you want me to read again from the deep sleep, it's already 6:30. Should I read the deep sleep state again?
if everyone wishes, otherwise you can go ahead. No problem. We have also seen the screen. I am also using a Bluetooth earphone now, so that henceforth I can listen clearly. It could be a mistake from my side.
Is that the experience of everybody else that you could not hear?
I can hear you. Don't know. Sometimes your voice breaks, but not all the
I
time.
think that is when the internet, today is a Friday, it's a holiday, so probably the internet is a bit shaky. Yeah, maybe I'll use my phone the next time so that the audio is not disrupted. So this is a good, the three states, the waking, dream, and the deep sleep states are good, should I say, the concepts for us to dwell on and think about them. And the only thing that exists through all the three states is the I-ness. It's because I'm aware of the deep sleep that I'm able to say I had a good sleep. And that is the truth. That is the real I. But because of ignorance and because of the pull of the vasanas, we are coming out of that deep sleep state and we're getting back into the waking state.
The word used here is pragya for one with ignorance.
Yeah. So.
And What do we call intuition then? The same word is used for intuitiveness, no?
Correct. The same word is used for intuition. I'm not sure whether the implied meaning is different in both. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll need to check that out. Because here it says prayena ajnaha, whereas intuition comes from a deeper space.
Consciousness.
Intuition can never be wrong. Intuition is always right. It comes from beyond the five senses, beyond the mind and intellect and logic. Whereas here it says prayena ajnaha, which is, what is the word that is said? Prayena ajnaha, one who is
Prajna.
more or less ignorant. Yeah.
So my question is then, we are not realizing it even in deep sleep if you're ignorant, right? Is that what it is? Like in deep sleep, yes, the I exist in all three states, but then in deep sleep, the other two are not there, right? I mean, it is real, but then I am not realizing it because I'm ignorant at this point. And is that what it means, that prajna?
Yeah, the meaning given here is that the self which is identified with the causal body is called prajna. You're
But
aware,
then it also
but you're
says,
not completely aware. Yeah.
yeah, ignorant, right? So
Yeah, that is what it says. No, I'll just go back to the text and read it once again. In the deep sleep state, I am ignorant of my true nature and also of the world. Except for the awareness that I exist, there is total ignorance. And therefore, the individual is called prajna. In the waking and dream states, I know I exist, but I do not know my true nature. That in the waking and dream states, we are identified with the gross and subtle bodies. And, there's doership, there is bhoktrutvam in the dream state. I take myself to be the gross and subtle bodies and the waking and dream worlds to be real. Right? For us, every object, every being, every relationship is very real in the waking state. Similarly, in the dream state also, our dreams are real. As long as we are in the dream state, it is a real thing. We experience fear, we experience love, we experience all the emotions in the dream state.
mhm,
The only thing that is not there is the doership, because you are the only one. You are playing multiple roles. But in the deep sleep state, I'm ignorant of my true nature and also of the world. It is you're able to experience that bliss because you're not connected with the waking state and the dream state.
the dream state.
You're not in the gross, not in the subtle body. You're only in that sheath of bliss, unconnected with the world, unconnected with emotions, thoughts. So there's no mind, no intellect. So what is there is like a you know, you're in that ananda state, but you're still not aware of your true nature. Except for the awareness that I exist, there is total ignorance, and therefore the individual is called prajna. I think this is the distinguishing factor between a person who's realized, who's ananda, who's bliss, versus the bliss that we experience in deep sleep state. It is this layer of ignorance that is covering up,
Right.
layer of the causal
So that's
body. Yeah, that is
yeah,
why it says one who is more or less ignorant.
right. Right. So yeah.
See, that is why the
So we
waking
have to
and
see.
dream sleep states of each of us differs, but the deep sleep state is the same for all. No matter where we are, who we are, however big, small, beggar, king, wherever you are. I mean, it could be in Timbuktu, it could be in California, it could be anywhere. You may be lying on the floor, you may be lying on a kingly bed. The deep sleep state that everybody experiences is the same.
Yeah,
Because
that's
we
true.
all experience bliss. There are no degrees in this bliss. It is homogeneous, partless, and complete. Therefore, one does not want to come out of it. Right? And one is refreshed and rejuvenated.
Right.
That is why they say, even if we are sleepless for one day, or maybe we've gone without sleep for a few hours, we are waiting, even if, there is a very sumptuous meal out there, or one of the things that you really wanted to watch on television is coming up. Even then, you drop all of that. You just want to hit the sack and sleep. You give up the whole world and go to sleep. That is what is mentioned here. Some even take sleeping tablets. That is why people take even tablets too. But the unmanifest impressions, vasanas of the waking world, manifest to push us out of this state. I had this always this question: how do we come out of our sleep? Our deep sleep. This is unmanifest impressions of the waking world manifest to push us out of this state, either into the dream or waking worlds. Yeah. It's very intriguing to read and understand about sleep and deep sleep. If there's nobody else, any sharing, should we stop here?
Yeah. Today, Nana shared about Krishna not being the doer when he was explaining. The other Pandavas got the sins because they committed small little sins, so they were in hell. But he came from, I am not the doer, I am only protecting Dharma in all the three worlds. And therefore, the sins did not accrue to him.
Correct.
I also wanted to ask you about this, the meaning of Dharma. Like I get a little bit confused with this karma and Dharma. Which one you call? Of course, whatever we are doing is karma. And then how do you know what you're doing is Dharma,
Yeah. Maybe, Dr. Mara, can I suggest, why don't you put this question in the question link? I think we can put it up tomorrow.
Okay.
And
Sure.
yeah, I think that is what we're coming to. What I understand of Dharma, a little bit of what I understand, even I have a lot of questions on Dharma, is very simply put, you do unto others what you would want them to do to you.
Yeah.
For instance, a simple example is, you don't want others to lie to you. You don't want them to be dishonest and untruthful to you. So
Right.
you don't be untruth. You don't be dishonest. Don't lie.
Okay. That's more like your values, right? I mean,
Yeah,
so,
Dharma
yeah.
is value-based living, no?
Right. No, I understand that. I always get confused with this when it comes to Dharma. I read it, I understand at some point, and then I have the same question. I will put in the question. I did want to ask him today, but then it was already time out, so I thought I'll post the question.
Please
tomorrow.
type it out. Let it come to the question bank. Because I had also asked about Dharma earlier, and he said we'll come to that. There's a lot of explanation of Dharma.
Okay.
So it'll be a good idea to put it in the question bank.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
All right. So shall we conclude today? Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Gurudev and Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you. Thank you
so much. Got so much insight.
Yeah.
Jai Gurudev, thank you.
Bye.